Good evening, viewers, and welcome to tonight's regional news. We begin with news from Venezuela. A boatload of Venezuelan migrants is feared dead after a vessel capsized on Thursday, plunging more than 25 people into the high seas. A news report from Delta Makuru said the boat was bound for Trinidad and Tobago. Cedros Councillor Shankar Tilak Singh said migrants who lived in a small village at Bilwood Trace, Cedros, were mourning the deaths of the missing Venezuelans. Up to Friday, Venezuelan's Guardia Nacional had recovered 3 bodies, a man, a woman, and a child. 5 people had been rescued by a commercial Venezuelan vessel that provided services in the Boca de Serpente sector in Delta waters. Venezuela's Tene Ase Paso report said some people managed to swim a long distance and had survived the tragedy. They were later rescued by Venezuelan ships that came to provide support in search and rescue tasks. Based on statements from survivors, the report said occupants had left Venezuela in search of a better life in Trinidad and Tobago. They were expected to settle in La Horqueta in the east after meeting with Trinidadian contacts. It is uncertain where the illegal boat and migrants would have docked had they made it to Trinidad. We now turn our attention to Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago health authorities Friday urged the population to be extra vigilant after confirming that 3 people had contacted the Brazilian variant P1 of the coronavirus. The Ministry of Health, in a statement, said that the samples were confirmed by the University of the West Indies that conducts genetic sequencing on COVID-19 positive samples. It said of the 3 confirmed cases, 2 are nationals and 1 of the samples came from a person under the age of 18 years. It said all contact tracing and isolation procedures are in progress and being managed by the relative county medical officer of health, with the aim of containing those variants of concern. The ministry said that research had indicated that the Brazilian variant is spread by a respiratory droplet infection, the same as for all strains. And now for some news from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Experts at the University of the West Indies Seismic Research Center advised that La Soufriere volcano in St. Vincent and the Grenadines remains dangerous despite pauses in explosive activities. During a virtual press conference hosted on Wednesday, April 21, Rod Stewart, volcano seismologist from the UE Montserrat Volcano Observatory, emphasized, although it is easy to identify the start of eruption, conclusively saying when eruptions are over often proves more difficult. The University of the West Indies and Vincentian authorities continue to monitor developments at the volcano as they have been since the onset of heightened activities in December 2020, which entered an explosive phase on April 9, 2021. Continuing with news from Haiti, 3 members of the Catholic clergy kidnapped in Haiti earlier this month have been released, officials say. But 7 other people, including a French nun and a French priest abducted in the town of Croix de Bouquet, remain in captivity. The kidnappers had demanded $1 million as a ransom payment after they seized the group on April 11. Haiti's President Jovenel Moïse has vowed to do everything the law allows to secure their release. It is not known whether any ransom had been paid. The attack happened when the Catholic clergy were on their way to the installation of a new parish priest. The police source said that a gang calling itself 400 Mazawa was most probably behind the abduction. Kidnappings have surged in Haiti, with the Catholic Church describing the situation as a descent into hell. And finally, on the international scene, the United States will begin sharing its entire pipeline of vaccines from AstraZeneca once the vaccine clears federal safety reviews, the White House said, with as many as 60 million doses expected to be available for export in the coming months. The move greatly expands on the Biden administration's action last month to share about 4 million doses of the vaccine with Mexico and Canada. The AstraZeneca vaccine is widely in use around the world, but not yet authorized by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The move comes as the White House is increasingly assured about the supply of the 3 vaccines being administered in the United States, particularly following the restart of the single-dose Johnson & Johnson shot over the weekend. And that concludes your regional news. Thank you for joining.